if you're out shaking the trees hard enough as an agent looking for other buyers, you're gonna find deals that work as, full third-party management. Like, you can be totally hands-off and buy stuff and increase your own portfolio. And I think over the next, year, 2 years, 3 years, there's bound to be some good opportunities popping up there for.
How do most agents who don't have access to the secrets that the top agents in our industry hoard to themselves grow and prosper in today's real estate environment? That's the question. And this video podcast is the answer. I'm Pat Hyben, and welcome to Real Estate Rockstars.
Rockstar Nation, this is Aaron Muchastegi. Hey, I just got done interviewing Ryan Murdock. Ryan is the head of acquisitions at Open Door Capital. He's been working with Brandon Turner. Brandon Turner has been on our podcast before. He's one of the podcast hosts of the BiggerPockets podcast. And he is going to talk about what it was like when he first became an agent, how he transitioned from being an agent to being an investor, and this, some fun opportunities they're doing out in the real estate world right now. Also has an update from Maui and what Maui's been like during shelter in place. So hope you guys have a great listen to this one, and catch up now. Rockstar Nation, this is Aaron Muchastegi. Hey, I am back today, and we get to talk something new. We're going to get to talk some real estate agent stuff, but we're also going to talk about some alternative ways to invest and maybe a way for one of you guys out there to make a bunch of money by trying to partner with some of these guys. So today I get to talk to Ryan Murdock. Ryan is with Open Door Capital. One of the guys that he works with, Brandon Turner, he's been on our podcast before, and the host of the BiggerPockets podcast. I got to hang out with Ryan a couple times out in Hawaii, and we chat and get to hang out in social media world too as we get to catch up. So Ryan, thanks for coming out here today.
Hey, Aaron, good to see you, man. Thanks for having me on. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah. So everybody has been talking about shelter in place, coronavirus, all the crazy stuff. So yeah. I was in Maui hanging out with Brandon when this kind of all started. We got the news that Texas was getting placed on lockdown. And so my family and I, we actually left a day early. We were supposed to be in Hawaii again last week. That got postponed. But what is Hawaii like right now for all the shelter in place stuff? How do people feel? What's it doing to the market out there? Is the real estate market still going? Just an update on Hawaii during lockdown.
Yeah, sure thing. It's been a crazy couple months here, as it has been everywhere. From what I can see, everybody's feeling the squeeze right now, but Hawaii, I think, has been super proactive in trying to keep COVID cases from spreading. They've essentially shut down all tourism. They've shut down all short-term rentals. Anybody that arrives in Hawaii, whether you're a resident or a tourist, you're mandated to quarantine inside your house or your hotel for 14 days. Meaning, you can't go to the supermarket. You can't leave. You have to have food delivered to you. All the beaches were closed. Just everything was shut down. Hotels are closed. Everything has just been completely shut down. So you can see I'm sitting out on my front porch right here, which is 8 by 20, and I've been confined to this area for 3 months now. Which I guess of all places to be quarantined, I'm happy it's Maui. Because it is beautiful. I can work outside, and from a kind of personal standpoint, I know this is just going to be. I assume it's going to be economically devastating for Maui and all of Hawaii. As an active resident, it's been, and I hate to sugarcoat this because I'm not happy about it, but it's been a very unique opportunity to kind of have Maui all to ourselves as residents. I mean, we drive around. There's no traffic. There's no lines. You go to the beaches that are open when they're open, and there's no crowds. I do a lot of scuba diving, so we're diving reefs and areas that are usually just loaded with tour boats and tourists, and we've got the whole place to ourselves. So, obviously, I'm very anxious for the world to get back to normal. But if anything can be taken from it as a positive for me personally, it's this very unique opportunity that we've got this beautiful place all to ourselves. But I think there's going to be some long-term effects just with so many people out of work, and just tourism is really the primary driver of business and income here. And with all that just completely shut down, I can't help but think that there's going to be some very long-term effects through businesses that just won't reopen, or real estate prices that fall. I mean, a ton of short-term rental business here, and people have bought condos and they've bought property based on solely being able to do short-term rentals with no backup plan, or like they don't work as long-term rentals. There's no other plan B. They have to use them as short-term rentals, and all of that has come to a grinding halt. So definitely feel for those people.
Yeah, the short-term rental business in Maui has to be impacted a lot greater than everywhere else, because what I've seen in Northern California is we dropped the price on our Airbnb, so our clientele changed, but a lot of people wanted something fresh, so they're like driving up from San Francisco for the week to go stay because it's like a way to get out. That can't happen in Maui, because in Maui, if you want a few days apart, I mean, you used to be able to hop over in a plane, but if you've got a quarantine for 2 weeks, I saw on the news like a couple people were in jail. Like people flew out there and they put them in jail because they didn't quarantine.
Yep, they are arresting people that violate it. And even if you could get here, they've put, I don't know the exact law, but they put a moratorium on short-term rentals, period. So I think the shortest you can rent anything right now is it's either 30 days or 6 months. I can't remember which, but there are no more. Like you can't do a 2 or 3 or even a week-long stay anywhere anymore. They've completely shut that down.
Yeah, it is. And I think the pros and cons that you're talking about out there are similar to where they are in other places. The con right now is economic devastation. Right? No matter where you live, what you're doing, there's various levels of it and various industries affected. But the con of what's going on right now with shelter in place and quarantine is economic devastation to a big part of the country and a lot of people. The pro is less traffic, is less busy places, is people finding family values again. It's like there's a pro and a con to less eating out, right? Like our family has really enjoyed some of what it's forced us to relook in our values. And, but yeah, I guess enjoy those beaches while you can. And for you listeners out there that are into diving and Maui and fish, I tell you what, Ryan posts these crazy videos on his Instagram. He dives like every day. And some of the most amazing stuff, he's like, here's an octopus. Here I am diving with 5 sharks today. I watch them every day. I share them with my kids every day. We're always checking it out because diving in Maui is one of the fun things we get to do when we're out there. And since we can't come visit right now, your videos that you put on there is I'm telling you, rock stars, go check it out. We have to live vicariously through Ryan.
Rockstar Nation, this is Aaron Muchastegi. Hey, I hate to interrupt the current podcast that you're listening to, but I am so excited to share this with you. I just finished interviewing the original host of this podcast, my good friend, Pat Hyben. I got to talk to Pat about how he started his real estate career and a whole bunch of tips and tactics that he used to be successful. So if you haven't listened to it yet, go check out State of the Market number 49. On there, I get to talk to Pat about all those different things. And in there too, he talked a lot about his 6 Steps for 7 Figures book and training program that he built over the last couple years. And I realized I haven't done a good enough job of reminding all of you lately about all of the resources that we've built for you out there. So if you want to check out Pat's course, we've got like a 3-minute summary video when you go to it. It includes so many easy to follow tips that you can follow on it like a day-to-day basis. You get email reminders, all sorts of different things that come with that course. You find that, you go to rebusuniversity.com, R-E-B-U-S, rebusuniversity.com. Look at courses. You can find the 6 Steps for 7 Figures book. And really, there's a whole bunch of other courses in there too. Our normal prices used to be $1,500 or $2,000 a course. These are real deal professional courses. But now during quarantine, a lot of them are priced down to like $90, $95. So we've slashed the prices so we know right now is a time for everybody to be focusing on growth and education, especially while they're feeling like they don't have as much to do. And if you go in there and you figure like there's a lot of different courses you want, maybe you don't want to buy the a la carte. You can go to futureofrealestatetraining.com and you can get access to all of our different courses for $97 a month. I think there's a discount on there if you go a year, or there's even like a lifetime option that you can pay to get access to every course we've ever put on Rebus University for as long as we have it. So go check out those options, Rebus University or futureofrealestatetraining.com. All right, back to your podcast. Sorry for the interruption.
So Ryan, when you and I first met, you had just moved out to Hawaii. Were you still an agent at that time?
Yeah, so I moved out here just over a year and a half ago. I'm from and pretty much grew up in Maine. I traveled around a lot, but most of my years were spent in Maine, and I was an agent there for the better part of 12 years, doing everything from, started out with just single family residential stuff and moved up to multifamily, and then got to the point where I was dealing exclusively with investors, which anybody who's an agent knows that it's a great place to be when you can finally kind of hand select who you're going to work with and who you're not, instead of just taking any business that you can.
Yeah.
So when I moved out to Hawaii, I figured I'd just transfer my license and continue doing that same sort of thing out here. Obviously, the price points in Maui are significantly greater than they were in Maine, so I just saw some great opportunity there. But honestly, once I got here and really started diving into some other projects with Brandon, I just really didn't have the bandwidth to go and do what it takes to become a good agent here. I didn't even get so far as to transfer over my license. We started working on Open Door Capital, and he was doing some projects here on island. And next thing you knew, 6 months had gone by, and I was working a ton of hours and really hadn't even given much thought to the real estate agent thing anymore. So I think it would still be a good opportunity, but we've got so many better opportunities that I'm working on right now that I just don't want to lose focus on Open Door Capital and what we're building as far as that's concerned, to get sidetracked doing any agent business here.
Yeah, well, you can always use that experience that you had as an agent to be able to transfer into all different forms of real estate. And that's what a lot of agents are going to be doing right now, right? So the transactions are still happening, but we're telling people that you have to work harder to make them happen. And there's also going to be some offsets, like people going, hey, so being an agent is a very transactional business. You have to do it. That's how you make money. That's how you make income. But doing some other things like investing and other stuff that I hope that all of you listeners get to kind of, modify into or do a little bit of that also. That was one thing that we had Pat Hyben on here last week talking about, is really it was the agent being a great agent gave him the ability to make an incredible amount of money and succeed and help so many different people, but also learning to invest along the way helped set himself up for that horizontal income. So at times like this, where all of a sudden transactions slow down, you've got those other options out there. So let's go back to when you were an agent. So you're living out in Maine, and you first became a real estate agent. How did you get into real estate? What made you want to become a real estate agent?
I was in electronics manufacturing for the better part of 10 years and traveled all around the world. And really that had just kind of run its course, and I was looking for something new. I had a little bit of money, not much, but this is like 2006, 2007. I just went online and was like, what do you do if you have some money? Where do you invest it? And real estate kept popping up, and that just seemed to intrigue me. I always liked just buying stuff and fixing it up and making it better. So I ended up moving back to the U.S. and bought a duplex and lived in one side, rented out the other. Made some improvements to it, tried to increase the value, and really just got a trial by fire education on landlording 101. The tenants I inherited were pretty bad. But what I took from that was just the experience that anything you do that doesn't go well, you certainly learn from. So I took that duplex and slowly but surely kept adding to my portfolio of property. So I had the duplex, I bought another one, and then another one, and then a 3-unit, then a 4-unit, and quickly got to the point where I knew I was really married to the property management business. Whether you have 5 or 6 units or you have 100, you have to be available at any time. You've got to have the systems in place for when something explodes in the middle of the night. Like, you have to have all that stuff. So I figured, well, if I've got systems and I'm married to my own properties, I might as well start managing for other people. So I grew the property management business over the period of about 12 to 18 months. I grew that to about 200 units that I was managing. And I was still actively looking for my own real estate. And what I was having trouble with is a lot of the stuff at that time, 2008, 2009, there were a lot of foreclosures on the market, $30,000, $40,000 foreclosures that were great deals. And if you didn't get in and look at them and submit an offer, sometimes within a matter of hours, they were gone. But the downside was that as an agent, and I certainly saw this once I became an agent, is there aren't a lot of agents that are super motivated to get off the couch on a Saturday afternoon and race down and show somebody a $30,000 foreclosure, because even if it closes, there was no money in it for the agent. So I said, well, I'll just get my real estate license on my own so that I can do my own showings and I can stop climbing in through windows. I can actually use the lockbox and go in and write my own offers, so I don't have to bother any other agents, and I get my offers submitted. And that's what I did. With really no ambition of helping anybody else. I just wanted to do my own deals. And found out that pretty quickly I liked being an agent, and more quickly realized I hated my day job. So I was able to just go in, and I was spending a lot of time at the real estate office. And as an agent starting out, like, you don't just flip a switch and you're in business as an agent. You've got to build out your network. You've got to build out your clients. You've got to establish yourself and make a name for yourself. And I was having a little bit of trouble bridging that gap with the day job and then trying to be an agent. And the woman that was running the agency that I was working for at the time had a need for an admin assistant, really a bookkeeper, because hers had just quit. And I said, well, she's like, whatever you do, she's like, don't quit your day job. She says, like, make sure you build out your clientele and you have something established before you quit your day job. And the next day I came in, I'm like, well, I quit my day job. I got to make this happen. So, so I was still being an agent, but then I was able to, she hired me, quote unquote, to be the admin assistant for her. So I had really no aspirations to be an admin assistant, but it was a reason to get somewhat of a steady paycheck, although it was very small. And more importantly, it kept me in the real estate office all day, so that I was still able to do showings and be there and be around people. And it just was able to accelerate my growth as an agent, because I was still like physically located at the office and surrounding myself with those people. So,
that's really interesting. So you really became an agent at the beginning, almost one, because you didn't have an agent that you wanted to use, or you kind of felt bad asking them to use so much stuff. So that would have been a good opportunity for an agent at the time if they were the hustler that said, yeah, I'll go get into those houses for you. I'll work really hard. I'll work really fast. And so it became, you didn't know you were going to build that out and then working your way in. So, how many transactions did you end up getting to do as an agent?
I think early on I was doing 30 to 40 a year, and they're pretty low dollar transactions, because what happened is I became that hustler agent for other people. And because I was hungry and needed to make it work, and needed to pay my mortgage and keep the lights on, I was the guy jumping off the couch at 4:00 on a Saturday afternoon to race out and show an interested buyer that $30,000 foreclosure, just to get the experience. And I wanted to be the go-to guy. So for the better part of 5 years, man, I hustled for a lot of times for very little or no money. But I was able to build a reputation, and as time went on, as I mentioned, I was able to get more and more selective with my clients and who was going to work with and who I wasn't. So
what advice, it's two different questions. So what advice would you give a new agent, knowing everything that you know now, and then knowing who you were back then, what advice would you give yourself? For now that you know everything, what would you have done different? Maybe it's the same answer, maybe it's two different answers.
Yeah, I think there's kind of a misconception with people who want to become an agent, who think that, I can just be an agent and, pick my own schedule and work my own hours. And, it's going to be easy. And that, at least for me, wasn't the case, because I had bills to pay. So I think, if you are financially stable already and you don't really need the money and you don't need to work that hard, then you probably can take a slightly more passive approach. Now, with that, you're not going to build your clientele as fast. I mean, my clientele, at least, they knew if they called me, I was going to pick up the phone. And if I didn't pick up the phone, they knew I was going to call them back. It is within usually 30 minutes or less. As soon as I was done doing exactly what I was doing, I would call them back. So people came to trust me. So I was kind of the go-to guy. But to do that meant like answering the phone at all hours of the night, keeping your weekends free because you had to go show houses and show property. So I think if anybody sets out thinking that they're going to make a go of this and it's going to be their primary source of income and it's what they're going to do, they need to be prepared to make the commitment with the time and the energy to accommodate to everybody's schedule in order to build your clientele and get your business off the ground.
Rockstar Nation, this is Aaron Muchastegui. Hey, I hate to interrupt the current podcast that you're listening to, but I am so excited to share this with you. I just finished interviewing the original host of this podcast, my good friend, Pat Hyben. I got to talk to Pat about how he started his real estate career and a whole bunch of tips and tactics that he used to be successful. So if you haven't listened to it yet, go check out State of the Market number 49. On there, I get to talk to Pat about all those different things. And in there too, he talked a lot about his 6 Steps for 7 Figures book and training program that he built over the last couple years. And I realized I haven't done a good enough job of reminding all of you lately about all of the resources that we've built for you out there. So if you want to check out Pat's course, we've got like a 3-minute summary video when you go to it. It includes so many easy to follow tips that you can follow on like a day-to-day basis. You get email reminders, all sorts of different things that come with that course. You find that, you go to rebusuniversity.com, REBUS, rebusuniversity.com. Look at courses. You can find the 6 Steps for 7 Figures book. And really, there's a whole bunch of other courses in there too. Our normal prices used to be $1,500 or $2,000 a course. These are real deal professional courses. But now during quarantine, a lot of them are priced down to like $90, $95. So we've slashed the prices because we know right now is a time for everybody to be focusing on growth and education, especially while they're feeling like they don't have as much to do. And if you go in there and you figure like there's a lot of different courses you want, maybe you don't want to buy the a la carte. You can go to futureofrealestatetraining.com and you can get access to all of our different courses for $97 a month. I think there's a discount on there if you go a year, or there's even like a lifetime option that you can pay. You get access to every course we've ever put on Rebus University for as long as we have it. So go check out those options, Rebus University or futureofrealestatetraining.com. All right, back to your podcast. Sorry for the interruption.
So now, in your business today, maybe it's for when you were an agent, maybe it's now. What technology are you using that you're thinking, wow, I couldn't live without this? What's the either a piece of software or even your phone, or what's the most important piece of technology that you're using?
Right now, it's probably, we run most of our communication in Open Door Capital out of Asana, which I know there are more, it's not really a CRM, and there's probably more sophisticated software out there, but our current team members are spread all over. So we've got a few of us on Hawaii, got some in Atlanta, we've got a couple, at least one guy in Maine, a couple in New York. So right now we live and die by Asana, just keeping track of everything, especially with the amount of leads we've got coming in, with the amount of stuff that's under contract, the amount of stuff that's in due diligence, and all the other stuff that kind of shoots off of that. Right now, everything is entered into Asana. Every comment, every email, every interaction. So it's all right there, and I can see that no matter where I am on my laptop, on my phone, anywhere, and just look back to the whole history of a deal or an issue or anything. So yeah, right now that's the key piece.
So Asana is like a central hub to be able to keep like a to-do list and things like that, but it also links to your email, so it'll send you email reminders and stuff like that. Yeah,
you can set due dates and reminders and all that stuff. Where for a long time I was just going out of email, where you just mark stuff, whatever, start or leave it unread, and it just gets to the point where you can't. I couldn't keep up with even that. So Asana is just light years ahead of that. It's just a good way to consolidate everything, so everybody's on the same page, everybody knows what's going on, and there's no miscommunication.
How long did it take you to transition your organization from Gmail to Asana, or from Mail to Asana, whatever it was?
Yeah, it was pretty quick. It was Mike Williams, our investor relations guy. He kind of drove that, and luckily he came into the picture early enough, so it wasn't like we had 200 employees and all of a sudden it was just a monster thing to change over. We worked out email. We tried Trello for a while. We tried a few other things, and he came in and he had quite a bit of experience with Asana. And I think we really went with that just because we were confident that he knew it. And again, there may be better solutions out there, but he was really well versed in it. And we liked what we saw. So at that time, we were still only 6 or 8 people for a company. So it's not a massive number of people. The number of transactions and leads that are being generated is growing considerably, but it was relatively painless to get everything from where it was Gmail and Google folders and all this other stuff right into Asana. Maybe a couple of weeks, and then a little bit of a learning curve. For me, for Brandon, for the guys that hadn't used it, just kind of clunking around in there trying to figure out what's what. But it was a pretty smooth transition.
One of the things you said there that I think people should listen to is kind of that idea, whatever CRM you're going to use or technology you're going to use, you need to make sure that the person that's going to kind of run it, be in charge, hold everybody accountable, it has to be something that they love. Yep. Right. So if the person is going to help it, we've used different systems before too. I use a lot of the, I mark up my emails unread and I don't mark it as read until I've seen it. I've got 3 or 4 different email accounts depending on which company or business I'm running. Plus we've tried, some different Jira for our software people and things like that, which is a lot like Asana, but finding a hub that works. But if you have a big team, making sure that who's ever, in charge of getting everybody on board helps. So you've got teams. So now, as we fast forward to going from an agent to then, you went from an investor to an agent to investor to now. What's your current title? Your current role?
My title today is VP of Acquisitions. So that's subject to change on any given day, but right now VP of Acquisitions. So when we had started, Brandon started Open Door Capital, a little over a year ago. It was really just me and him. Working to try and find mobile homes, and it was Stressful for a couple reasons. We didn't know exactly what we were doing. We didn't know exactly what we wanted. We didn't know quite what we were going to target. We cast a really wide net in terms of what we were going to focus on for mobile home park criteria. So as far as lot size and utility configuration and markets and all this stuff. So we quickly found that we were just kind of running ourselves ragged, just on a wild goose chase of underwriting deals that didn't really work out for us, that we never really had any business looking at to begin with. So it was quickly evident that we needed help. We were doing well, all things considered, but just the two of us, we needed to bring on people. So we ended up creating sort of an intern program where we had a team, actually two teams. I think it was 25 to 30 people that were helping us both on the acquisitions front. So we had people that were cold calling, that were looking for deals, and then another team of dedicated underwriters. So we had, I think it was 10 or 15 people underwriting for us. So that proved to have its own challenges, just with having that many people to train and corral and make sure everybody was on the same page and make sure everybody was getting enough at-bats for the tasks that they were at, so they could improve and get good at it. So we learned that we needed to scale that back. So we went from 30 underwriters down to just a handful. We had 3 or 4 of those, and then 2 of those guys ended up becoming like full-time employees for Open Door Capital. So it was a pretty fascinating way to build out our team, where we had a chance to kind of work with pretty much everybody on the team. We worked with in a free capacity or sort of a commission-based capacity. We had a program where if they found a deal or they were unpaid positions, there was no hourly or salary, but they were excited to work with us. They were excited to work with Brandon and learn about mobile home parks, learn about underwriting, learn about deal finding. But we promoted that if we ended up purchasing a deal that either they had found or they were part of the underwriting team on, they would get some compensation for that, almost on a commission based. So we had an opportunity to work with all these people, and some of them kind of faded away quickly, and there were a couple that really rose above the rest of the group, which tends to happen with any group. And after working at that capacity with a couple of these guys for a few months, we felt confident enough to hire them in a full salary. Like, they were able to quit their day jobs, come to work for us, full salary package, which is really beneficial, I think, to everybody involved. It gave Brandon and I a chance to kind of date before you get married, test drive the car before you buy it and see that you like working with these people. And it gave the people that we hired the chance to see if they really liked the work and they liked the culture. And, because it was a big leap for a couple of them to quit reasonably
make big changes.
Yeah,
I remember
make significant changes. So
I remember doing an internship, in college, and I learned so much in those internships, right? Getting to go work for companies and see, and those 3-month trials are such a fun way for people to get to learn. And so there isn't as many internships now. And I guess there hadn't been because, the economy was so booming. Everybody had a job. Unemployment was so low. Now, as people are shifting, I bet there'll be more opportunities for kind of internships and building the team. So when you first moved out to Maui, did you know that, I think I kind of remember the story that when we were hanging out there, that you kind of went out there to go help Brandon remodel something, and then you never left, right? You weren't really planning to move when you got out there.
No,
right?
No, I definitely wasn't. I was in Maine. I was doing some mobile home park consulting and some other stuff, and I've got my own small portfolio of rentals there still. And he just sent me a text one afternoon. He says, "Hey, I just bought this house in Maui. Can you come out for a week just to help me get settled?" And he had to get a shipping container from the port to his house, and he's got a little rental unit out back that he needed renovated and to find a tenant. So I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll go to Maui for a week." I'd never been to Hawaii at all. Really didn't know anything about it. Jumped on a plane, came out here, and within 5 seconds, just absolutely fell in love with the place. So over the course of the week, we had determined that there was way too much stuff for me to do in 1 week. So I stayed for a week, went home for 3 days, and then came back here for a month. And then over the course of that month, kind of hatched a plan with Brandon to really be his executive assistant. And it's funny because there's some similarities there from when I first got my real estate license, just kind of filling this admin assistant role, even though that's not really what I wanted to do. It was a great stepping stone to get out to Maui and work on some bigger things. So I stayed for a month and then went home just long enough to grab the wife and dogs, sell my house, sell all my stuff, and then bought a one-way ticket back here to Maui. So I took a role as, again, his kind of executive assistant. I was helping him a lot of the camera and production stuff on his videos and his webinars. I do still work for BiggerPockets on a part-time basis. And then meanwhile, we're building Open Door Capital and targeting the mobile home park. So I'm no longer the executive assistant. I no longer rake leaves in the yard. I do still clean the pool on occasion, but
you cut bananas out of the tree now. I've seen you get bananas out of the trees there.
Yeah, I did that a couple of days ago. So that's fun stuff. But so it was really funny the way it came together. Brandon just had a need for some help, and I had a strong desire to get out of where I was, which was snowy, cold Maine. And we absolutely loved Maui. So it was a good fit. We both kind of knew it was a temporary arrangement as far as job description. But in doing that, I knew I had to take a step back financially from some of the stuff that I was doing in Maine. But it was I could see the bigger picture and knew that in addition to just living in a beautiful environment, that the long-term potential for job satisfaction and income potential and just to further my investing career, it was just a no-brainer to take that step back financially, come out here and make a go at what we're doing today.
Yeah, I mean, that for all of you listeners out there too, as right now there's this crazy opportunity to kind of reinvent yourselves, do a pivot. Maybe it's join a different team. Maybe it's get higher up on your team. Maybe it's doing stuff, alongside your, as being an agent or a broker. But taking, Ryan's story and what I'm hearing a lot of is, he found somebody that he knew he wanted to be a part of the team. And he didn't quite know what he wanted to do, and it maybe wasn't going to be what he wanted. But hey, let's just get on the team first. Let's get on the team first. Show them that I'm great. Show them that I'm a hustler, that I'm willing to work hard to do anything. Because just getting your foot in the door and getting to prove to somebody, then you're going to get that opportunity later. And just being willing to work hard for that. So Open Door Capital, there's an Open Door that actually buys houses it's not that Open Door. It's a different Open Door Capital. And do you guys also flip houses or buy individual houses too, or is everything just trailer parks now?
Yeah, Brandon is doing some flips here on the island. I don't have a lot to do with it, but he's done 3 or 4 flips in the past year, pretty successfully, either condos or single family homes here in Maui. So we want to do some more of that. Again, it remains to be seen what the economic climate is going to be. I expect there to be some good buying opportunities. And, you can flip in any economy really, as long as you buy it right. So we're not sure what's going to happen over the next few months with that. We expect it to change, but how it changes for better or worse, we'll see. But that's been, obviously there's some great income that's generated from that, but that's almost been more of like just a fun hobby for him to buy some stuff. And he's partnered with a local guy here on island that has a really good network of contractors and lenders, and just really established here in Maui. So between the two of them, they've done some pretty cool things. Yeah,
I've seen some of those deals. Real estate in Maui is fun, right? You have these different sort of properties, and that is definitely going to change. But I guess it's funny because flipping houses in Maui is 100% different than your guys' main business of investing in trailer parks. And so a lot of people be like, trailer parks, what do you mean trailer parks? We
prefer mobile home communities.
Yeah, mobile home community. That's like, you can call them a tenant or you can call them a resident. But there is a thinking in that. So mobile home communities. So why mobile home communities? Why is that what you guys are focusing on? And what are you guys doing? So do the elevator pitch for what is Open Door Capital.
Sure. So Open Door Capital, we decided to focus exclusively on mobile home communities. We love the niche, we love the asset class, but what it really comes down to is we had to pick something and go with it. There are a million different things that we could be involved with, but shiny object syndrome is a problem for Brandon. It's a problem for me. So to just kind of stay in our lane and pick something, we had to go with that. And Brandon says the best. The mobile home parks may not be the best investment, but it's one that he decided to pick and run with, and we're trying to do the absolute best we can with it. We love it. We think it stands out from other asset classes in a sense that, our model is really, it's different from apartments in a sense that we are targeting mobile home parks that are, typically if everything's perfect, 60 to 70% occupied, which means you've got 30% vacant lots. And our value add strategy is to infill those vacant lots. So unlike an apartment complex where, let's say you've got, maybe rents that are well below market, or you think you can go in and spend whatever, $5 to $10, $20 a unit, renovate these things and crank the rents up $300 or $400 a month. Mobile home parks can be operated as they are with just infilling the vacant lots, and you can add massive value from just doing that. So even in parks that we've purchased or that we're underwriting that maybe rents are well below market, that's not our strategy. And you go in, and if lot rent's at $200 a month and market says it could be 400, there's no better way to end up on the evening news than just going in and doubling the rent on a mobile home park. So we'll model that. We'll raise them very gradually, and it may take 5 or 10 years to get them to where they need to be. But the big value add is through filling vacant lots. So we'll identify a park once we buy it. We go in, and the best way to have a lot filled is to have a tenant bring in their own home and set it up and start paying lot rent. Unfortunately, that's not like real common these days. So if you've got a lot of vacancy, you just wouldn't live long enough for the park to naturally fill itself. But what we'll do is we'll go out and buy homes, either new homes or used homes, bring them in, set them up on the lot, get them so that they're turnkey, and then we'll sell those off to tenants so that they'll buy the home and then they're just paying us lot rent. So let's say we have $15,000 or $20,000 into bringing a home and getting it set up. Even if we break even on the sale, or sometimes we're even willing to lose a few $1,000s on the sale of that home, by activating lot rent on a lot that was otherwise not generating any revenue, we've just increased the value of the park. So we've increased the monthly cash flow and the NOI, and as a result, the overall value. So
that's a total interesting strategy. So it's not that you're not trying to own the homes, right? And so I think a lot of people have this hybrid where they're like, no, we own a park and we own some of the homes and other of the homes we don't. But when you own the home, you have the maintenance, and you guys are saying, no, you'll bring in the home, you'll kind of flip the home to them, but really not for a profit. Like, how to flip houses. So you'll bring in a house, you'll flip it to them, but you're only doing it so they actually pay the lot rent on it. And that sounds like a very unique plan.
Yeah, that's all we're really concerned with is the lot rent. And that's fairly standard with the bigger operators. I know it varies by region, and especially if you've got some kind of mom and pop local operators. I know in Maine, for example, like having park owned rentals where they're renting the homes, that can be pretty lucrative. But to do it at scale and to do it remotely like we are, really we're pushing all for lot rent. So we don't want to own any of the homes, which means that we're not dealing with any of the repairs and maintenance of the actual home. So there's some cost savings there, and it's easier to budget. Like when you just own the land, I mean, you can forecast your budget for the next 5 years, because all you're concerned with is just the roads, mowing the common area, the infrastructure. We're still on the hook for the sewer, for the water and sewer lines, but any of the home sales, anything to do with those, the tenants are responsible for that. We found that when that's the case, there's just it's a different tenant than you see in an apartment. They have pride of ownership because they own the home. I mean, they've got money, they've got time, they've got emotion, they've got memories there. Like, it's their home. So you tend to see much greater pride of ownership in mobile home tenants than you do apartment tenants. And in our communities, we do try to improve the community. So we don't just go in and just like I don't want to make it sound like we're not involved, because we're beautifying the common areas. We're improving if there's playgrounds or pools, or like, we want the place to be a nice community. We want people to be happy living there. We want people to tell their friends that they're happy living there, so that they'll there. Like, we strive to make the place better, but the ultimate goal is, even in that better community, we want to be out of the park owned home business. We just want to own the lots and rent those lots.
Yeah, that seems pretty brilliant. It's like you're creating homeowners at the lowest level of expense, but then by creating that homeowner, then you're getting that utility of of now they're a monthly resident, and now they're paying to be a resident, and it's kind of like a. I think a seller financing is the same concept. It's closest related to it, except for, again, you're not trying to get that mobile home back. So Opendoor, you guys are buying houses all over the place. Now, one of the most fun things that I've seen, and the thing that I wanted to kind of ask you on the show to come talk about, 'cause I thought was so fun, is you guys have been pushing it on social media. So it's been bring brand in a deal.com. I think that's the thing. And so you guys have said, hey, find us a deal, find us an off-market mobile home. Mobile home community. Yeah. And if we buy it, we'll pay you guys a giant commission. So it's kind of that same deal. So you guys have such a reach on social media. You said, hey, we've got this already. Let's kind of stretch this out. So tell me about that. And I think you've had a couple, you have people that are right there, right?
Yeah, no, that's been, we rolled that out, 2 months ago, and have been promoting it pretty heavily. And we've had a tremendous response from that. So it's bringbrandinadeal.com. And what we're promoting is that if anyone brings us an off-market, it's got to be off-market mobile home park and gives us a warm introduction to the seller. And that could just be an email to the seller. Like they have some sort of direct relationship with the seller. They give us a warm introduction, and we'll take it from there. They're not brokering the deal. They're not involved with it. They can be included in some of the transactions if they're curious, but we take the wheel and drive. If we close on that park, we'll write that person a check for $50,000. So it's really been a great incentive. And what we're looking for is we put a tremendous effort into broker relationships. I'm on the phone with brokers all the time. We've got great wholesaler relationships, guys that are just professional wholesalers. But here we were targeting neither of those two groups. We were hoping to catch, somebody that listens to the BiggerPockets podcast or one of Brandon's followers, or just any word of mouth person that isn't a professional, isn't a real estate professional, but maybe they heard at the last Thanksgiving that their uncle has a park that they're looking to sell, and we just want that introduction. So we've been able to really tap into these people who are not like set on real estate as their primary source of income, but they know of a park that's for sale. They know we're looking, and because of that, a lot of times very small amount of work and just the introduction, they're going to get a check for $50,000. So we haven't actually paid anybody out yet, but we have, I think, 2 parks under contract right now that came as a result of those. And remember, we just rolled that out a couple months ago, so we're in due diligence.
I can't wait to see somebody.
We're psyched, man. Yeah, I can't wait to the day that, I want to send Brandon out with a giant 4-foot check, one of those like Publishers Clearinghouse style checks to give us, which won't happen, but I thought it'd be great. Yeah, I mean, we will be the happiest that we'll be as happy as they are to write them a check. It's going to happen.
You'll have to send Brandon out there with the Publisher's Clearinghouse check. So it's a remind me again of the criteria. So somebody says, hey, here's the park. So how big is it? What are you looking for?
Yeah. So our criteria right now is we're looking for a minimum of 100 lots. We want public water, public sewer. Those are the really strict criteria. And then from there they get a little squishy, but ideally it's, 100,000. We want a stable population, say of 100,000 or more within 10 miles. And ideally it would be minimal park-owned homes, although usually parks come with a fair amount of park-owned homes. We have to work through that. And that's really, and no RVs. We don't want an RV park. So a lot of people think the RV parks are the same as mobile home parks. It's a completely separate business.
Yeah,
so,
especially your business plan.
Yeah.
You want people to stay there forever. So you need to find the version unless it can be transferred. So as we're finishing up here right now, you've seen a lot of different stuff as an agent, as an investor, you've been a part of, rises and falls in real estate. What do you think the biggest opportunities for real estate agents are going to be over the next year, over the next 6 months? What are things people should be thinking about in this up and down? And I know this is time to grab your crystal ball and just go, all the stuff you've been thinking about, what do you think people should be keeping their eye on?
Yeah, I mean, I hate speculating, and it seems like everybody that has an opinion on the future is you're just guessing. What I have always found amazing is and maybe the listeners of your show are a little different, but how many agents are out there that are not real estate investors? Like they just run around, they're showing other people good deals, but they just, for whatever reason, think that they can't do it. They don't want to do it. And I've seen just great deal after great deal getting brokered by an agent that owns no real estate. It's like, why didn't you just grab that for yourself? So I wish more agents would take the opportunity, take the initiative, and start investing in their own deals. I mean, even if you don't want to manage your own property, if you're out shaking the trees hard enough as an agent looking for other buyers, you're gonna find deals that work as full third-party management. Like you can be totally hands-off and buy stuff and increase your own portfolio. And I think over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, there's bound to be some good opportunities popping up there for all the reasons that the economy is going to be taking a hit. That I think there's going to be some great buying opportunities, either for flips or long-term buy and hold. So I wish agents and I know I'm generalizing, but would just kind of open their field of vision and grab some of these opportunities for themselves.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So Ryan, tell people how to get a hold of you. How can they go find you on Instagram? How can they find you at Open Door?
Instagram, I'm at ryan.murdock21. And you can find our website, which is odcfund.com. And you can shoot me an email at ryan, RYAN, at odcfund.com.
Man, this is awesome. I can't wait till we get to come hang out again and get to go see some of those new dive spots that you're an expert at.
Man.
I'm even wanting to go look for some mobile home communities right now just to try to see if I can be the first one to get that giant Publishers Clearinghouse.
I got $50,000 waiting for you right here.
I know. I'll come get it in person. All right, man. Keep hanging on out there. Hopefully, enjoy Maui quiet while it can be, because as soon as they open it up, I'll be out there. And great to chat with you again.
All right, man. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thanks.
Rockstar Nation, thank you for listening to Real Estate Rockstars. Listen, I need a favor. If you find this free content helpful, if you find our downloadable items from each guest helpful, please, I need you to pull out your pointing finger. Yes, the one finger that points at people, and hit subscribe. Yes, subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the better we look in the ratings, and the easier it is to get guests like Robert Kiyosaki, Barbara Corcoran, all the players that are on $1 million listing in the different cities. All that stuff makes it easier the more subscribers we get. So please subscribe. And listen, there's a lot of places you can leave comments. There's a lot of places you can like. We're on Facebook. We have an Instagram page. Instagram page is I am Pat Hyben. The Facebook is Real Estate Rockstars Radio. Feel free to leave us comments there. The most popular form of commenting seems to happen on YouTube. Yes, for whatever reason, it's a very open environment. So just go to YouTube and go to Real Estate Rockstars Radio. Leave us comments there. Some of them we will read on the show. We love your feedback. So thanks, guys, and I hope you are having a great day. Oh, and also, listen, if you're going to subscribe and you haven't already left a review on iTunes, please do that too. Have a great day, and thanks so much, Rockstar Nation. I really appreciate you.